Hello, my name is Sean, and today I'll be going over Magical Hexabuttons. So this looks like brown hexabuttons, but as you can see here, the big difference is that there's 2-digit numbers and the center button has a letter written on it so far. So now we're just going to basically record all of this information in whatever order. So I'm going to do it in reading order because that's what I'm mostly comfortable with. And we have delta as our center button. The only piece of information left that we're going to need is by pressing the center button, we're going to get a text-to-speech message consisting of 6 characters. 6 or maybe 5 characters. I forgot. But if you have trouble hearing or unable to hear, we can press the status light and the characters will simply appear above in this area over here.
Foxtrot, Victor, X-ray, Mike, X-ray, uniform.
Oh, right. So, first off, these digits refers to basically an alchemical thing, or it's an alchemical symbol being assigned to that button. So, to start off with, we're going to use the first number as the row and the second number as the column to get ourselves an alchemical symbol. So we have a small minus, a small positive, and a small positive for this alchemical symbol right here. Next we have 6, 8. We have a small positive, a big negative, and a small negative. Next we have 7, 5. This is going to be small positive, small negative, big positive. Next is 1, 4, which is going to be big positive, small negative. Next is 2, 5, which is going to be small negative, big positive, and big negative. And finally, we have 5, 5, which is going to be big positive, big positive. And that's basically it. Now, this delta that's being displayed represents our starting potion that we currently have. So delta refers to a black negative. And the rest of these potions over here represents the potions that we have to make, but not necessarily in that order. So, I'm going to translate all of these. So Foxtrot here is going to be a blue neutral. That's basically what I'm going to call that. Victor, which is over here, is going to be a cyan positive. X-ray is going to be a white positive. Then Mike here, if I can find Mike for a fast minute, is going to be green negative. You see there. Then another X-ray, which is white positive. And finally, uniform, which is going to be a green positive. Alright, we don't need this. We basically got all the potions that we have to make, starting with the black negative. And how mixing rolls work with this one now is that each potion has an RGB value according to its color. When mixed with an alchemical, the RGB value of the potion is XORed with the colors of the alchemical. Such as, if we mix this right here with this black negative, right? Each small represents a 0 and each big represents a 1. So this would be 0, 1, 0. And considering that we did it in the fashion of red, green, and blue, this is adding in green. Black has an RGB value of 0, 0, 0. So when you do 0, 0, 0 mixed with 0, 1, 0, XORing it, you get 0, 1, 0, turning this from a black to a green color. And then going from there, if we mixed it with, say, this one over here, from the green, this is going to be 0, 1, 1 in this case. when XORing it, you get 0, 0, 1 because these two cancel out, and this one gets added, turning it from green to blue. The other thing is the charge of the potion depends on the total amount of positives and negatives between the alchemical it's mixed with as well as the potion itself. Such as, again, when mixed with this will turn it to negative because there's 3 negatives and 1 positive. So this would actually turn into a blue negative, or I mean green negative. And then when mixed with, what was the one? This one, let's mix it with this one instead. So this has a 1, 0, 0. The green has 0, 1, 0. This will turn it to 1, 1, 0 of red and green mixing to be yellow. And then, considering the fact that this is basically 2 positives and 2 negatives, this turns into a neutral potion. So that means if the total number of positives is more than the total number of negatives, it becomes positive. If the total number of negatives is greater than the total number of positives, the potion becomes a negative. Otherwise, the potion becomes a neutral potion, such as if there's an equal amount of positives and negatives. Alright, I hope you understand those mixing rules. I know I explained them very quickly, but we'll get to it. So how do we go about solving this puzzle? Well, what I like to do is basically add everything here within this column, and this column. So right now, basically there is an even amount of bigs within this row, so this is going to be 0. Then we have only 2 here as well, so this has also become 0. And then for the amount of bigs in this row is 3, which means it has to be 1. And what I mean by adding them up, you basically add them up and then module them by 2 just to guess what binary sequence we have here. And then we're going to add XOR this binary sequence with black. So with black being 0, 0, 0, we're going to get a result of 0, 0, 1. Which means the end result, at least the end result color of this module, should be red, green, should be a blue. And in fact, we have a blue neutral. So this has to be the ending result right here. It has to end with this blue neutral. And I erase that. So, and we're going to work ourselves backwards. So, here's the thing with blue neutral. The only way to get a neutral if there's an equal amount of positives and negatives. So I'm going to start splitting up these things into basically, here's the positives, right? Here's a 3 positive right there. And then I'm going to find ones that are only 2 positives, like so. So this is a 2 positive, that's a 2 positive, and over here is a 2 positive as well. And then we have the 2 negatives, which is an add of 2 negatives for each potion. So, the only way to get a neutral potion is this one, because the theory is that we need an even amount of positives and neutrals. You can't get an even amount using 3 positives, but you can get an even amount using 2 positives and a negative, and vice versa using 2 negatives and a positive. So, these potions right here are possibilities of getting a blue neutral. And so if we basically mix, in a sense, here, what would get us a blue neutral? Well, first off, 3 smalls is going to indicate a blue, and then we have basically positives, so we have to look for a blue negative that counteracts this. So that'll be 2 negatives, 2 positives to make a blue. We don't have a blue negative, so it can't be this potion. Next, we have this one. This is going to be a negative potion to counteract that negative. And then we also have a big blue here. So when mixed with this blue, this turns into a black negative. We don't have a black negative within this. It is the first potion, but remember, the blue neutral is at the end, so it can't be this one. Next, we have this one when added with red, green, and blue here. This is 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, and 0, 0, 1. This is going to mix with red and blue here together, making 1, 0, 1, red and blue. This will make magenta, and it has to be a negative magenta, which we don't have. Okay, let's keep going backwards here. So next with this one, we have this one has to be a positive potion in order to work because it will be 2 positive, 2 negatives to make a blue neutral. And then when mixed with the blue here, this is 0, 1, 0, this is 0, 0, 1. This is green with blue here. So green with blue makes a cyan positive, which we do have. So this is a possible solution to this. The other one is this one right here, in which we need a positive, right? And basically, we're going to need a, let's see, if mixed with this, the blue cancels out, and then this is going to be added. So this is going to be a green positive, which we also do have. So we have choices of 6, 8, and 2, 5 being our first one. So let's say for first, we're going to go with this one over here, and I'm going to label this with a 6 to indicate this is the first, at least the last button press to do. And so what we get beforehand is a cyan positive before all this. So, doing that, we have our 6 here. So now from the cyan positive, which I'm going to remove out of this list now because we don't need it anymore, we need to get a cyan positive out of here. So we need to look at our positives lists, which are ones that have 2 or more positives. You can't get a positive out of a negative. So we're looking at this list over here of possibilities. So when we mix this with this is green with all this makes a 101. This is red mixed with green mixed with blue. This will make a white positive, which we do have a white positive there, so that is a clear indication that it could be that one. Next, we have this one over here that's all small. Basically, this would be a green positive. No, we have to get cyan, right? Right. My bad, not green. Alright, starting over. So we have red, green, and blue. This is green and blue. So we're basically adding in the green, removing the blue. So this is red and green makes cyan. No, this is it? No, this is red and green. No. Red and green makes yellow. What am I doing? Positive, which we don't have any yellows whatsoever here. This could also be a yellow positive or a yellow negative, but considering that we don't have any yellows, it can't be this one. Next up is this one, which is going to be all small, so we're looking for a cyan positive for this one, which we can't have because we already used up the cyan positive, so it can't be that one. Next is this one with this one. So again, cyan is green and blue mixed together. Blue is being removed, so we need a green positive, which we do have, so that's a possibility. The last one is this one, so we know it's green and blue, right? And we're basically mixing in red. That makes a white, and we need a positive in order for this to work, which we do have a white positive. So let's say in general we do the green positive route. So this becomes 5. This we get a green positive like so. We remove this all together. There we go. So next we have a green positive. So it has to be one of these 3 right now. So basically red, green, and blue is a positive. Let's see. Mixing with this would basically be red, green, and blue. So we're adding red, we're adding also the green, and we're adding the blue. This makes a white, and this could be negative or positive, but it has to be positive because we have 2 white positives. Next is all smalls, in which this would be basically have to be a green positive. We don't have a green positive anymore. And the last one is this one, in which we add the red to the green, which makes it yellow, and it has to be a yellow positive, which we can't have. So the only possibility here is right here. So this would be white positive. And we get rid of a white positive. Next, what we have to do here is find our third one. We have to make a white positive, so it has to be one of these two right here. So for this particular one, we have a, if I'm trying to think real good on this one, we have small positives. So basically small positives, we need a white positive, which we do have. And then for this one, we're removing the red, adding green and blue, and this would have to be a cyan positive for this to work. Which can't happen because we already used that, so that means white positive has to go here, again, using this one as the third. Which means a green negative has to be used here beforehand. So, when basically doing this, to make the white, we have our two options here. So in order to make a white positive, we're removing the red and adding, let's see, green and blue. That's cyan, which can't happen. So we need to go back to basically two choices. Can't be that. Can't be that. So here, I think was our first decision, right? No, can't have green positive. So here's the first choice that we made between a green positive and white positive. So obviously it wasn't the green positive, so we're now going to do white positive for this one. There we go. So now, from here, we're going to get rid of a white positive. Now from the white positive, in order to get from here, this is subtracting red and blue from it, making it green. And this could be negative or positive, which we both have two decisions to go with on that one. Next, we also have this one, which indicates from a white positive you need a white positive, which we do have here. And with this one, this is subtracting the blue, which gives us red and green, which gives us yellow, which can't happen. So now we have three choices. For this one, I feel like going with the green negative. So let's try green negative here. Basically putting this as 4, removing this. And we can remove the green negative here. Next, from the green negative, we have to get a negative. So it has to be this one. And you see here, neither of these will work. In order to get a green negative, this would have to be a negative, which we don't have. So it can't be green negative. So let's try green positive this time. So green positive this time. Still choosing this as 4, removing a green positive. So from here, we're going to need a green positive, which we don't have. And from here, we're adding in blue. So this will make a cyan positive, which can't happen either. So we need to go back again. So this has to be white positive then, in order for this to work. And notice that we had a green negative, and no matter how much we do this, this is not a correct solution either. Because when we do go about doing this, let's just say, so basically we're saying this is as 4, and removing this. To get from here, right, we can do this, which subtracts both the red and basically giving us a green positive or negative in this case. And we're going to remove this. And then we also have basically only that, because if we try to do this, this makes yellow, which can't happen. So basically, either of green positive, so this has to be third, but whether it's green positive or green negative is up to chance here. So to get from green positive to green negative, we need all smalls, which can't happen. So we're still in the wrong section here. So we've tried to do those. So it leads back to our first thing that we did here, which is taking this as 6. So, which means beforehand has to be the green positive. We're still missing 1, 2, 3. We removed the blue 0, right? Yep. So this has to be the green positive then. And this one as 6. That was a lot of backtracking. So we know this has to be here now, is what we gathered. I'm going to separate the negatives from the positives here. So we need to get from, basically from the green positive. So we need to check one of these. So from here, this can be white positive or white negative, but we only have white positive, so that's a clue there. From here, this gets us, has to be a green positive, which I forgot to remove. Let me just go back and do this. There we go. And then this is white positive, green positive, but this can't happen. And then next, we're adding blue to this, which makes it cyan. It has to be a cyan positive, which is another thing that we could do. And then for this, we're adding red, which makes it yellow, which can't happen. So let's say with the white, okay? We do white positive. So this becomes 5. Next, we have to get to white positive from the white. So basically, from here, it has to be a white positive, which is a thing there. From here, we're subtracting the blue, giving us yellow, which can't happen. And from here, we're subtracting the red, which gives us cyan positive, which also could happen. So between the two, I'm going to go with this one. So we have another white positive. And this becomes 4. Fourth button to press. Moving this. And now, from here, the only option to go from here is with this one, because we're subtracting the red to give us cyan, which is the blue and green. And the only way to do this is a cyan positive. So cyan positive has to go here. We're removing cyan positive, and this will be our third button press. And now we're checking if this is going to fit together. From the cyan plus, it has to be a positive. But this can't happen because it's a green negative. So that means that can't be right. So, let's see here. How we could have done this differently. We could, so from here, it was the white positive, right? So we could have done the white positive or the cyan positive. Let's say if we did cyan positive, the other one. So this becomes 4, move this. So next we have cyan positive. If we mix it with this, we have cyan positive. No, if we mix with this, we get green positive, which we can't have. So this is not a choice either. So from here, it can't be this. So when we did the 5 section right here, right, it has to basically be the cyan positive first in this case, instead of the white positive. So this becomes 5. Then from the cyan positive, we need to do something about that. We're going to basically, from here with cyan, this is adding blue, getting rid of the green, adding red. This would be magenta, right? No, this would be yellow. It's adding green and red, getting rid of the blue. This would be yellow, which we don't have. This gives us a cyan, which we don't have. But this one, adding red to the red and green, to the green and blue, gives us white. And a positive, too. So from here, we can do a white positive as our fourth. Then from here, we have our choices of all of these positives, getting rid of the red and blue from the white, leaving off green, so green negative or positive. In this case, this would have to be the green negative, or leaving off the white positives in a sense. Let's say I do the white positive, because I feel like that's going to be the most useful in this sense. So I do another white positive. This is going to be 3. Now, from here, the only choice is doing the green negative, which would make this 2, green negative. And so if we add this from black negative, this is going to give us a negative, and it adds the green. So it works out. And you can double check your work by doing all this. Whew. So when we go from the black negative, this is adding green to this. And this will make it a negative because there's more negatives, so it gives us a green negative. Now we're here, we're pressing this button. We're adding the red and blue to the green, which makes it white, and it has 3 positives, so it has to be white positive. This is adding a bunch of smalls, so that's a bunch of zeros, and there's going to be 2 positives, like so. So that's going to be a white positive. Next, so now we're here with white positive. Here's the fourth one. We're removing the red, right? So it's going to be only living with green and blue, so it's going to make cyan, and it's 3 positives, so cyan positive, correct. Next is this one from the cyan positive. Pressing this as 5th, we're removing the blue, leaving us with only green. So it's going to be green as the color, and 3 positives is going to leave us with a positive green. And finally, with the 6th button press, with green, we're basically removing green, adding blue. This makes us blue. And with an even number of positives and negatives, it gives us a blue neutral. And from there, by Jove, we finished the puzzle. So, now we just have to press the numbers here in this order. So I'm just going to rearrange it just to make things easier to read. So we can read it off by numbers, by 6855. So it would be 6855, and say I press the wrong thing. It won't give us a strike until we press all 6 buttons to reset your input, as you see there. So, and to even reset your input, you can press the center button to reset.
Victor. X-ray. Mike. X-ray. Uniform.
And on top of that, we can start pressing the buttons in the correct order of 6, 6, 6, 8, 5, 5, 7, 4, 1, 4, 7, 5, 2, 5. I hope all of you enjoyed this tutorial. Until next time, guys, keep talking and don't explode.